My dream is that you have one service to rule them all.
Skynet.
Where you just no. So welcome back to episode 2 of the Film Insiders podcast. I'll start on the introductions this time. I'm Glenn Pena. I'm a dad. I'm a United States Marine. I worked in the film business years ago, but then chose a different career, a different path. And now I'm just a movie lover, TV lover, and just love talking about it. And that's why I'm here. What about you, Sam?
I am Samuel Hahn. I am a film director, producer, writer, editor, camera operator, dad, veteran as well with the Navy. And I've been chasing the film dream for the last 20 years almost. So call it stubborn if you want, but it's the path I chose and the path I love. So here we are.
Awesome, man. That's really cool.
Thanks.
So today we are going to be talking about movies once again.
What a coincidence.
Yeah. We're going to be talking about, I guess the starting point was our favorite movies. I'm kind of using a cheat sheet here. I got my phone sitting here.
That's nice.
So I'm just going to be reading off of it. If I look down, don't be distracted, right? So first topic is...
and Buckaroo Banzai.
You forgot to mention
I
your
forgot Buckaroo Banzai.
This week, your Buckaroo Banzai.
Last week was Batman. This week is Buckaroo.
That's right. And by the way, when he says these things, you can Google whatever he says and find a way to stream it and watch it because it's usually something good, I would guess.
It is. And Buckaroo is not something to miss out on. That was something we actually got cheated on a sequel because I guess the powers that be just thought it wasn't worth it. And there is a whole, probably old school group of like fanboys for that one.
There was a pretty big subculture that was following that.
And we missed out, which is a tragedy to humankind. So anyway.
Tragedy to humankind.
It was. I mean, the beautiful Clancy Brown, Jeff Goldblum.
True.
Peter Weller. Buckaroo.
Texas's own Peter Weller.
A scientist, a rock star, an advisor to the president.
Buckaroo, President's on line 1, calling about is everything okay with the alien spacecraft from Planet 10, or should he just go ahead and destroy Russia?
Tell him yes on 1 and no on 2.
Which was yes, destroy Russia or number 2?
Buckaroo did it all, dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I know. I
Eighth
get
Dimension, bro.
But
Eighth
you know,
Dimension.
a lot of kids out there probably never even heard of it.
My kids have. I've tortured them with it. They're like, no, not another old classic, Dad. I'm like, it's Buckaroo, you little jerk.
Yeah. Now sit down.
Watch this movie.
Sit down and put your eye-opening clamps on.
Yeah, clockwork. Yeah. All right, I'm sorry.
That's all right. So first thing I want to talk about is favorite movies. So what's your favorite movie of all time? And can you even pick a favorite movie? That's the other thing.
First answer is no, I can't. People ask me that one all the time. And man, it is really hard to just pinpoint, I guess, maybe one film. If it was like my favorite film. I mean, I got plenty of rainy day films. I could watch anything of the Rocky series except for part 5, the Tommy Gunn one.
Yeah, but there's that amazing monologue in that one about getting knocked down and getting back up. Isn't that in that one? Oh.
No, it's in Balboa.
I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you wanna be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that and that ain't you. You're better than that.
Okay, so, favorite movie. How do you do that one? I mean, my mind jumps to stuff like Train Spotting, but I mean, it's not like a rainy day kind of film. I mean, Highlander. Christopher Lambert,
Good
Sean
pick.
Connery. That's a beautiful one.
That's a beautiful
That's a
film.
beautiful film. And what else did I write? I wrote a couple things down for that one.
You cheater.
I had to prepare.
You cheater. See, I knew it. We got to change the way we do these pre-production meetings. So
That was just in case if I needed a name. Like unlike last time when I couldn't
can't be
remember
so
any
prepared.
actor.
You can't be so prepared.
I mean, off the top, it probably would be things like the Rocky film, Highlander. I loved old action. I am a pretty big horror fan too. Movies like Return of the Living Dead, the Tar Monster, I know I brains. That one always creeped me out. Made me afraid of the dark for a while. Until like later in life when I'm, like 6 months ago. No, I'm kidding. I had watched it again a couple years ago, and it's a comedy. It's a horror comedy, and I never cued into it because I was so afraid of it. So, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah, I was about to say. I remember seeing that movie when it first came out many years ago, and when I was like a late teen, and it wasn't scary at all because we had seen Dawn of the Dead and we had seen, my little crew had seen all these other scary zombie movies and also Evil Dead. So it was obviously different, right?
What year that came out? That was
1987.
Yeah, it was like mid-80s. So I'm like 7 years old. So it's
Okay.
7, 8. So I'm at the peak of like
Here we are.
imagination and darkness.
We're back to you being younger than me.
This is
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Anyway, hit that like button, subscribe, share with your friends. We've got more coming.
Follow us online at the Film Insiders Podcast. And now, back to our show.
And one of the little side notes talking about Return of the Living Dead. The cool thing about that, the director Dan O'Bannon, he didn't direct that many films. After Return of the Living Dead, there was a film called The Resurrected. But this dude actually was a writer for Alien and Dark Star by John Carpenter, and that's been the majority of his career. After that, it was just writer or accreditation towards the characters that he helped create. So
Yeah, that Dark Star is how I knew who he was.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's the first thing I think of when I think of him.
do you have a VCR?
No.
I have a VHS of Dark Star. I've yet to watch it because I want to watch it on this VHS.
Okay, that's why you asked. I thought you were being
No,
facetious.
total reference. No, it wasn't an
Hey,
age
old
joke.
man, do
That's
you have
not
a
an old
VCR?
joke, jeez. No.
Do you know how to program it?
What about you? What will be your? Let's start on a bigger scale, like the genre. What would be your favorite genre?
I have to be honest. My favorite genre by far is sci-fi. I just have always been drawn to science fiction, but I like the real science fiction. Well, we can get into that in a minute. So my favorite movie, and I've said this for many, many years, my favorite movie is Blade Runner. It's a couple of reasons. One is it's directed by my favorite director, Ridley Scott. Some of the things they did in that film to make that movie, the effects, the in-camera effects were unbelievable. Like never been done before type of things. Like the opening sequence where the shuttle is like flying over the city and you see the big explosions in the background and all this. That was like an 8-layer shot that was done with one camera on the same piece of film. So what they did was they shot one piece where the camera's moving over this model, and then they backed it up and rewound the film in the camera, and then shot it again. Yes, like 8 times. And somehow it works. And it's cool thing about it is it still holds up today. Like when you watch it, it doesn't look super cheesy.
No, I watched it not that long ago, and then followed it up with the new one, 2049.
Yeah.
It's just an amazing film, and especially the ending, that monologue with Rutger Hauer with the
Oh
tears
yeah,
in rain.
man.
You know the story on that? it went through like I think 3-4 different people. Like everybody kept writing
Writers,
a
you mean?
different revision of that monologue, and then it hit Rucker, and he was like, "I'm just gonna do this with it."
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser Gate. All those moments will be lost in time. Like tears in rain. Time to die.
One of the best monologues in film,
Oh,
in
yeah.
my opinion. So
Oh yeah, for real. But anyway, so that's my favorite movie. But there's one other one that's a little oddball that you may not think that I would have liked, but it's a movie that when I was in film school, when I was in college, I saw this movie, and it sort of changed my life because I was struggling and I wasn't real sure I still wanted to work in the business, and I was sort of like, I don't know. And I saw Field of Dreams.
yeah, dude, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah, and
Ray Liotta, right? Isn't he in that? Isn't he play
Ray Liotta's
He plays Shoeless Joe Jackson.
right.
Yeah, Kevin Costner.
And then Kevin Costner, a whole cast of great actors, right? But
James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones, but it's just this whole cast of really great actors.
One constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball. America has rolled by like an army of steamrollers. It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again. But baseball has marked the time. This field, this game, is a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again. Oh, people will come, Ray. People will most definitely come.
It's the first time I really paid close attention to a movie. Now, Buckaroo Banzai is a good example of a movie that sort of goes flights of fancy where you're not really in reality.
Right.
But this movie blew my mind a little because it was sort of like, who thinks of that? Right? It was just so crazy. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And that sort of revitalized me and made me go, yeah, okay, I still want to do this, you know. So who is your favorite director? I said my favorite director is Ridley Scott. What about you? Do you have one?
I have a few.
Who's your biggest influence?
Probably Carpenter.
Okay. Good choice. Good choice.
And there's I think naturally, instinctively, I tend to kind of like direct like him, and a lot of like the imagery, like when I'm shooting myself and all that, and definitely him. I've never was a super huge fan of the action side of him. I mean, I enjoyed it, like They Live and Escape from New York and LA and all that. They were great films, but to me, it was like his horror from Halloween to The Fog to what is that damn movie?
Which one?
The Thing.
Oh,
Oh my
yeah.
God, The Thing.
Yeah.
And it's probably one of my other favorite films. I can watch that one any day of the week.
Yeah.
Even the new ones.
The Thing is definitely one of my favorite movies. In fact, but it's Kurt Russell in The Thing, not whatever this remake. They did some kind of remake, right?
It wasn't bad though. Well, no, it wasn't necessarily a remake. I mean, it was a prequel.
Oh,
Because
right.
the end of it opens up to the Kurt Russell, John Carpenter film.
They did the story of the Nordic
How
people.
it got to how it
Because
got
in the beginning of The Thing, the guy that doesn't speak English lands the helicopter.
the helicopter's coming in, he's
blows
landing,
it
and
up.
he's yelling. Which I saw a clip on that the other day, dude. Like
Yeah.
what he's saying in was it Norwegian, Finnish, whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Oh, he gives the movie away.
He's screaming it out.
Right.
And they said that. It's like if you actually knew the language, he's saying it's not a dog.
Yeah,
It's like
he's saying, get away from that thing. It's not a dog. It's not a dog. And he shoots the one guy because he's shooting at the dog.
Right. So they think he's shooting at them, so they fire back, and they kill the one guy that could have like
told him everything.
So Carpenter, probably number one. And then I'm a real big fan of Hitchcock. I love Twilight Zone with Rod Serling. The guy was a machine on writing, man. I mean, not a director, but as far as like a writer goes, and I guess, and that kind of influenced the storytelling. And then obviously I have a love for Kubrick. So
Right. We talked about that last episode. Yeah. Cool. So, and
Danny Boyle.
You left him out.
I had to throw in Danny Boyle.
I was a little surprised. I should have said something.
His Train Spotting, like that was like my everything. That was probably my favorite high school film besides The Doors, with Oliver Stone, right?
Okay. Makes sense. Wow. So you like Oliver Stone too? Mm-hmm. I love Platoon.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Although I saw Platoon right before I went to boot camp, I saw that, and I guess that same year is when what do you call it? Full Metal Jacket came out.
Because they were all making like war films at that point.
Yeah. Don't watch Full Metal Jacket when you're about to go to boot camp for the Marine Corps.
I feel like that'd be a horrible idea.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
That'd be like going into watching Pearl Harbor, then signing up for the Navy.
Yeah.
Like, that's not going to happen, right?
I don't know if anybody would have believed. Anyway, no, I don't want to get into. I don't want to say anything about Pearl Harbor, about the movie.
Or Michael Bay.
No, Michael Bay's cool.
He's a great I mean, he makes cool movies.
He seems like a good dude.
I like Transformers.
I heard a great story about Michael Bay where a dude met him and at a party, and it was a comedian, and he decided, I don't remember who it was, but he decided that he was going to pretend like he didn't know who Michael Bay was. And he goes, "Hey, I'm so-and-so," and he shakes Michael Bay's hand, and Michael Bay says, "Oh, that's great. I'm Michael." Shakes his hand, and he goes, "So, what do you do, Michael?"
Oh.
And he goes, "I'm a film director." And he goes, "Really? Have you done anything I might know, or anything that I've seen?" And Michael Bay looks at him and goes, "Come on."
That'd be wild and awkward.
He just looks at him and goes, "Come on, man. You know who I am."
I quit that.
Can you imagine being that famous where people, you just always know everybody
That people
knows.
know who you know or know who you are, yeah.
Anyway, so all right. So what about you wanted to talk about movies that made us afraid? By the way, you're going to think I'm such a cheeser with this because I hate scary movies.
Or just different feelings too, but yeah, afraid's one of them.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
What made you afraid? What movies made you afraid?
I mean, Return of the Living Dead really did. I mean, I'm like 7 or 8 years old.
Right.
So the damn tar monster, tar zombie, brains, more brains. I mean, that really got me. And like the bodies in the morgue.
It's a good thing you didn't see Reanimator. That was around that time too.
Mr. West.
You'll never get credit for my discovery. Who's going to believe a talking head? Get a job in a sideshow.
It will scare you to pieces.
My brothers were all into that horror stuff. So I don't even know if Jason did. Halloween, I guess, kind of did. Freddy was always funny. Like, it was kind of scary, but it was really just like that campy horror, kind of like horror and comedy play on two different
like
sides.
Yell at the screen, like.
Well, there's reasons for all that too. I mean, 'cause the way they played it and why it became so popular. I mean, think about it, like horror and comedy like work together. If you can scare somebody, they're going to need a pressure release. So when you come up with that one-liner joke where he's like doing what Freddy says, it makes people laugh. And so it diffuses them a little bit. So then when you come back with another scary moment or a kill, your brain's like reset. Kind of like when you go to the like a sushi and you have the ginger and it like clears your palate.
Right.
Like a pickle at a deli.
Right.
It's the same jazz.
Okay. That's a cool. I didn't really think of it that way, but that makes sense.
So it couldn't terrify me. But Return of the Living Dead was one.
So when I was a kid, I mean, obviously older movies, right? But Halloween.
Halloween. The night he came home.
I lived in Saudi Arabia when I was a kid from about age like 8 to 11.
I didn't know
8
that.
to 12. Yeah. And we lived in a compound that kind of where it was a bunch of Americans that were working overseas. And we had a tape library. It was kind of like before Blockbuster because they were U-matic tapes, which they were like that big. They were like huge tapes. And we would put them in, we had U-matic machines that we would watch video on. And it was we didn't have television at all. So if you wanted to watch a TV show or a movie or anything, you had to go to the tape library and check it out. And they had a steady flow of stuff coming from the States that was recorded and sent to us, right? But Halloween was in the library. And I remember for my birthday, it was like my 11th birthday or 12th birthday. And I begged my parents, I wanted to see Halloween. And I don't know why. Because I don't even like scary movies. I didn't know at the time I didn't like scary movies. And so they let us watch it. I don't know what they were thinking.
Good parenting.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, I agree with them.
But yeah, that movie scared the crap out of me. That movie was, yeah, that was a scary movie for a 12-year-old, for sure.
No doubt.
But you know, I think when I was a little older, okay, this is the one I think you're going to think is funny. Because, well, first of all, by the time I was in college, I knew I didn't like scary movies. Like, I just don't like, I don't know. They just don't. I mean, like, Nightmare on Elm Street, maybe, is the coolest thing, coolest one I had seen.
Mine changed upon parenthood. Like, when I became a dad, everything just kind of switched. Like, I can't take a story where, like, a kid dies. Especially in a horror film. Like, if I see that, I turn it off. Like, I'll try to watch it, but I'll probably never watch it again. Kind of like Stephen King's The Mist.
I mean, the big thing is it has to be well done.
Yeah.
Right? Like Poltergeist.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievably well done. Right?
That is a really good one.
Right. So, I mean, that's worth watching. Right? Because it's scary and it's a good movie. Poltergeist 2, maybe not. Not as much.
Wasn't part 3 where they're in the high rise?
Okay, yeah. Part 3 was the scene with the mirrors and all that. That was creepy, but it was just not.
It ranks up there like Gremlins 2 to me, like the new batch.
Yeah, but
I'm kidding.
So the scary movie I was getting to is Candyman. That movie terrified me. I do not know why. In fact, I have a much more terror-filled memory of that movie than probably I should have, because when my daughter, you know, my daughter's in college and she's about to graduate, she's studying film and TV and all that. She'll probably go and work in that business.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Dad, what movie really scares you?" Because she loves scary movies. And I was like, Candyman scared the piss out of me. Like, that movie really scared me. So we went in the movie theater, right? And we watched it. And at the end, she was like, she was laughing at me. She's like, "That movie scared you? Really?" I'm like, "That last scene when he's like just in his apartment by himself and there he is and he kills him. Come on, man." Then we move on to movies that made us want to be a hero, right? So, what was a movie that you saw that made you want to be the hero of your own movie?
At 9 years old, it would have been the first Batman with Michael Keaton. God, man, when the Batmobile rolled through, the score, the sounds, the look of like Tim Burton's movies, it just feels huge. It feels like you're watching and living in a comic book, and it's Batman, right? And I'm supposed to be Batman. So that was number one. But the second one, the biggest one for me as a kiddo, was probably The Rocketeer.
Swear out. Shoot him! We've got the girl. The rocket will come to us. I'll repeat. She know that? She's gonna find out. Let him have it! Rocketeer.
I remember I was in Tennessee visiting my late grandmother, and we watched The Rocketeer, and I just remember going back to her house, pulling out the manila paper, and I'm drawing my own jetpack, and here's like the fuel line, and this is where the switch is, and you have to hit that button to go. And even like, here's where I had to put the gum at to keep the fuel from leaking. So The Rocketeer, dude. Timothy Dalton, Jennifer Connelly.
What was that guy's
Alan
name?
Arkin.
What was the main character's name?
Billy.
The actor. He's been in so much now. He was in Friday Night Lights, the TV series. He was in, isn't that the same guy?
My brain popped on Billy Graham, but I could be wrong about that. I think there's a.
Okay, again, the two of us.
I know. I mean,
we're just terrible.
It's useless. I can make a movie though. We can make one.
We got to name the actors when we mention these things. Like especially with we talk about how great somebody was in a movie. Did you write it down?
I did.
Okay, let's see.
Billy Campbell.
Billy Campbell.
So I was only a few letters off.
Yeah, he was in.
Not Billy Graham, the pastor, evangelist.
Yeah, he's been in a bunch of stuff since then, a bunch of TV.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good actor.
That was a big one for me though. I wanted to be the Rocketeer.
I really enjoyed that movie. I liked that whole style of filmmaking, like the when they make those adventure movies, you know.
Well, you know that director was the same one. Like later on, he did Captain America: The First Avenger.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know either until today when I was writing my notes to have a cheat sheet.
Okay, all right. Maybe your prep matters. Maybe a little. We've already made 2 points that make sense.
Ding.
Ding. So for me, I think, you know, I thought about this when you brought it up, and I was like, I don't really know, you know, like, because when I was growing up, the movies were pretty fantastic, like far-fetched, right? Like there wasn't a lot of, like, for instance, I mean, we had stars like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone and
the action era, like the big action era,
or Michael Biehn when he was in Aliens or Terminator, you know. So it wasn't like I was like, oh, there were a lot of movies that were like about somebody there wasn't a whole lot of like, oh, I'm the badass hero, right?
Right.
It was more like more struggle for the characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess if I had to say one that would make me want to be that guy, it would be Indiana Jones. No question.
Very nice.
Yeah. I remember that's another movie I saw on opening day. Let's talk a little bit about streaming services. Because we talked last time about movie theaters, right?
Mm-hmm.
We talked about how movie theaters have gotten kind of impersonal. That even though you're in the theater, if you go see a movie, you really aren't. It's kind of like you're sitting in a lazy chair you aren't really aware of that community experience of being with the theater other than noises you might hear.
Right.
You don't see anyone's face. You don't see, you know, because everything's so stadium seating. It's not the same. Which I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
No, it's nice, but you know, you're still, it's just the equivalent of being in your house with a really big TV.
Right. But so what we didn't talk about was the difference between those days and now where the movie theaters work and what happens with streaming now. What's evolved since then? Because way more people watch movies at home than on the big screen now, right?
100%.
So what do you think about that?
Oh, man. I mean, I've got a wide library of like films and options and stuff that I can stream at any given time, or even find movies that I never had seen before or had the opportunity to, and I can look them up, some with the kids. But then you're at home containing ourselves into our little pods at home, watching our movies, and people aren't really getting out. And, you know, when you drive by the theater and it's a semi-empty parking lot, or, you know.
I mean, maybe if something big is opening on a Friday night, you know, you'll see it, you'll notice it, and you'll be like,
yeah,
oh, wow, okay, something big is in the theater right now. Okay, so what I remember about being younger with movies is I knew when every movie was going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I knew, and I was anticipating it, right?
But it's also a quantity thing too, because with the theaters, they had only so many releases and only so many like stuff that was coming out at any given time.
Well, that's the first thing, right? That's what's crazy about the way streaming services work now. The amount of content that's available for viewing now it's insane. And there's really good stuff that nobody sees, like
because it gets buried against everything else.
Yes, like I can give some examples. Like Slow Horses on Apple TV. Great show, television show.
I don't have Apple TV.
This is what I'm talking about.
See, I have no clue.
It's unbelievable, right? Or The Old Man on I think it was on Amazon Prime. That was Jeff Bridges.
I have to watch that. I actually have Prime.
Spy TV show, Jeff Bridges. Really good.
I like Jeff Bridges too.
But my point is, I think at this point, I have enough experience that I know, like I can watch something and be like, you know what, this is amazing, and no one's going to see it, or not enough people will see it. I mean, you know, back in the old days, if you want to talk about viewing content at home, there were 3 television channels plus PBS, right? It's just the way it was. I know.
You just setting it up.
Say it. It's okay.
I'm not doing it. And when the president spoke, it's done.
No, but I mean, yeah, and we liked it. No, there were 3 channels and we liked it.
We enjoyed every bit of it.
Listen here, see? No, but I mean, there were only 3 television channels, literally. So like, and back then, a TV audience of 20 million was not like this amazing, incredible big deal. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Right? Now, a successful show will have 6 million people that watch it.
Right.
And that's it. Back in the old days, I mean,
the world tuned in.
Right.
Or the country. But
right. You might have 50 million people watching one show. But the point is, streaming services have been really, really beneficial in terms of the business, in terms of the industry, because it's opened up so many avenues for content creators to be successful.
The good and the bad, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think that it's interesting to me to know how, when you look at, like, for instance, Netflix or some of these others that do originals, to be honest, I don't have a lot of insight into how each one has sort of produced their content. Meaning, are they buying content from others that fit their brand, or are they specifically going out and producing content? Are they paying people? I don't know how each one does it because I don't keep up with all of them.
Right.
But if you look at like the Netflix example, the thing about Netflix is Netflix knows that they're going to lose about, what was it? About 5% of their user base leaves Netflix in each month, right?
But gain what each month too?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you have to demonstrate growth, right? So
Right.
it gets replaced by others. But my point is, over the course of a year, that means that over 50% of their user base turns over,
Right.
right? Of course, you're going to build a studio with a robust number of titles that you can offer and other things, because you're having to constantly reinvent yourself to try to continue to attract new customers, right? It's like, if you're just resting on your laurels and not really producing any new content that people want to see, then you're going to fail in that environment. My dream is that you have one service to rule them all.
Skynet.
Where you just no. What?
Skynet.
Why would I want? Why would that be a dream?
I don't know.
Skynet is the dream.
It's a horrible. Well, where are we going? I'm making
No,
the AI.
no.
Never mind.
What I'm saying is like,
We're welcoming that future. Robots.
I, for one, welcome our robot overlords. No, but like, no, but I'm saying like my dream is to have a service that you pay one fee per month and you get access to everything that's available everywhere.
That'd be amazing.
Right? Mm-hmm. And somehow on the back end, everybody gets fed. What I mean is like a service that overlays everything, where it doesn't matter anymore. You sign up for that service and all that other stuff happens on the back end. It all gets presented to you the exact same way for content. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
And you know what's messed up?
What?
You have just like gave birth to some future jillionaire. Because there's somebody out there.
I should have done it myself.
I mean, really?
What was I thinking?
But seriously, because now somebody out there has heard it. So just remember, where you got it from.
Hey, you. Yeah, you, 13-year-old who just heard what I said and is like, yes, that is how I shall make my riches.
It's real.
Give me a cut. That's all I'm asking. Just a little 3%.
The guy deserves it.
It's not much. But anyway, the point is,
one day you're going to get a knock on your door and there's going to be an Arnold. Like,
an Arnold?
Are you Glenn Pena?
Oh.
But
that's my dream is one service. Can I just have, like, imagine that.
It'd be cool.
And all the content, they could still own their content, right? And that overlay service, the service they're providing is you don't have to worry about anything else. You just pay $50 a month or whatever.
Yeah, what if it was like $70, $80 a month?
Yeah.
But you could have everything you ever wanted.
Everything that everybody has. I don't understand from a technology standpoint, it's now doable.
Totally is.
And all you need is APIs that hook into everything that those other services are doing. And they can still own their IP. They can still own and make money. But I think there would be a market for people who, like me, who would just pay extra to not have to have 18 apps on a Google TV or whatever and have to switch between them just to see the shows. Makes sense, right? But now, okay, here's what tripped me out. I was watching a preview of a TV show the other day, and the old lady, they're giving this woman a television, and she goes something like, does that thing have Netflix on it? And she's pointing at the TV, right? And I was like, what? Oh. Because now televisions all
They're built in.
Yeah.
Like some of them, yeah.
They have their own OS with all sorts of crap, like all the services built into the TV. I'm telling you, 20 years from now, our kids are going to be like, wow, man.
There's going to be a hub for movies.
Well,
you can access everything probably for $70 to $80. You laugh about it now, but watch, you just gave the future away.
I gave some kid some idea.
Future little Bill Gates, Bezos, little.
I mean, you'd only need to make an extra $10 a month per subscriber, right?
Really? I mean, you start adding it up, you probably pay a lot more than what the movie hub would be. I don't have that many.
I don't know.
Prime's like $12, $15.
I don't really want to know what I'm paying. It's like probably insane.
Just let it happen.
Because I have all of them. Like I probably have ones that I don't even use anymore that I still pay for. I need to probably look at that.
You probably should.
Well, listen, I think we've been going a while now. I don't know how long it's been exactly.
I have no idea. Lovely conversation, though.
But I guess we can stop here.